Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Today's video, we're gonna be talking about custom crossbow arrows or bolts, whatever it is that you wanna call them. I'm gonna give you guys the details on what it is that I've got here, and then we're gonna test them out. So stay tuned. All right guys, so let's go over the details here of what it is I built, why I built it this way. Again, this is kind of my first full custom crossbow arrow build. So starting with the shaft, the Sirius Phoenix. This is, in my opinion, the best shaft on the market. I absolutely love these. This will be my third season with them. And they've been great. Straight out of the box or straight from Sirius, you can get a lot of different cut to length options. I think they've got different fletching options now. Just a great shaft. They're 9.54 grains per inch. They are 1,000 straightness tolerance, and the spine on them is extremely consistent. So if you're gonna noctune, you might have a hard time picking the best and worst fletching positions, just because honestly, all of them are pretty darn good, and that is true for multiple point weights. So that's why I'm starting with a Sirius Phoenix shaft. Going back to point weight here, shooting the same setup I've shot for a while. So the Sirius Phoenix bolts or arrows, they come with a 110 grain stainless steel Ethics insert that you can knock down. It's either 90 or 92, but I leave them the full 110 grain weight, and then I pair that with a 150 grain point. So 260 grains total up front. This is done really well for me on not only the SWAT X1 or the SWAT XP, but other crossbows. This just seems to work really well, so I just kind of stick with it. And 110 grain broadheads, there's a lot of different options out there. So I like fixed blades, but you can get some good mechanicals as well in that 150 grain mark. So a heavy upfront setup, but still with that 150 grain point weight, you got a lot of options. So if you want to play around with different broadheads, you can do so. Length. So I'm not necessarily recommending this, and I want you guys, I guess, to just kind of listen closely, but I cut them a little shorter than 20 inches, and I'll show you on the bow why that's going to be okay. I cut them to 19 3/4, so 19.75. One is just to kind of play around. I want to see what that kind of gains me as far as FOC and stuff. So obviously they're going to be a little bit lighter than they would be 20 inches, but that 19.75, it still fits perfectly fine with inside my riser. So from the barrel of my crossbow, what is still sticking out, there's still plenty of bolt out front there, and it still fully seats. That's important. The bolt still fully seats against the string, so there's no issues there. And the broadheads that I'm planning on shooting, the kind of the pocket in the riser, they're still gonna fit with inside of there. So the reason I cut them shorter was to gain a little bit more FOC with the same point weight. So a shorter arrow is gonna have higher FOC for the same amount of weight up front. So it's just kind of me tinkering around, and these were a little bit older shafts that I had, so I wanted to try it. So 19.75 inches on the length. Again, not necessarily recommending that, just something I'm kind of trying. As far as fletchings, so I stripped off the factory fletchings. I fletched these all white with Fusion Q2i 3-inch vanes. These are the same vanes that come on the Killer Instinct Hyper bolts. I like them. I think they're a good size. They seem to just work well with the KI bolts that I've shot. So I wanted to try these. They've got really good adhesion to the shaft, so no issues fletching them. And I actually spine indexed these, or I tried to. I made my own kind of redneck spine indexing fixture, some scrap wood, some angle brackets, a dial indicator that I got off of Amazon. And honestly, I thought I was getting pretty good readings. It seemed pretty consistent as to where the kind of high and low points were. So that's what you see with that little dot right there on all of these. That was what I had spine indexed to. When I shot them though, and I shot them through paper just to verify, and I'll show you guys a better image of this here. But when I shot them, they weren't quite perfect bullet holes like I wanted them to be. So my first shots, they weren't bad, but they weren't quite as good as what I thought. So no harm, no foul. They're all white vanes, so I just twisted the knock. I shot them all again. 2 of them were better, so I went ahead and sharpied those. The third bolt, I actually went to the third fletching position and got a tear that I liked liked better. So I guess I need a little bit more practice with my spine indexing fixture. Maybe I need a better dial indicator. Maybe I just need a better fixture in general. I don't know. It was fun to try, but again, no harm, no foul. I just knock-tuned them, got them where I wanted them, and sharpied that arrow on them. And that's why I like, for one, using all the same vein color, because then I can easily knock-tune and just Sharpie on there and not have to worry about any colors. That's one reason. Another reason, and this was something that I thought was cool that I heard Travis T-Bone Turner talk about a while ago, was when you're watching an arrow fly, whether it's a crossbow arrow or a compound arrow, a lot of times that odd feather, when you're seeing the arrow rotate through the air, that odd feather makes you think that the arrow is kind of wobbling like this, when in fact it's just rotating. So he likes to fletch all the same color as well, just so his eyes don't play tricks on him. I thought that was really cool. That was another reason why I wanted all the same color. And lastly, all white. I just wanted a lot of white to be good, hit indicator when I shoot a deer. I just got a lot of white fletching on there to be able to easily tell what kind of hit I have on a deer. And another thing, the Sirius Phoenix Shaft, those big white letters on there, that's really nice too, that they've got a lot of white on the shaft to do the same thing, to just be a indicator of what kind of hit you got on something. So I've already got these sighted in at 50 yards. I adjusted my speed ring scope there, that max view that you guys saw in that previous video. I got them adjusted to this. So we're gonna do the same shooting at 60 yards that I did with the Killer Instinct Hyper Bolts, just the stock ones. We'll see how much I improved, if any. But in total, again, you guys, 19.75 inches. We've got 260 grains total up front. These arrows are coming in a total of 490 grains. All right, I've got one here loaded in my SWAT X1. I just want to show you guys this again, where we were talking about how I went a little bit shorter. So you can see this is loaded. It's fully seated. I did the bolt load lever, so it's fully seated against the string, and you can see how much I still have sticking out of the barrel here. So if I wanted to go a little bit shorter, I could, but we're gonna stay with this for now. So as long as my broadhead fits inside this riser, I'm good. As long as the bolt remains fully seated and is able to fully seat with a broadhead on, so there's no interference, it's not bottoming out here before it fully seats. As long as that doesn't happen, again, I'm good. And again, as long as I shoot a bolt that is 390 grains or higher, so this one's 490, again, I'm good. There's not gonna be any issues with it, okay? I'm not necessarily recommending that. Again, if you guys, if that is just something that doesn't quite make sense, don't cut them any shorter than 20 inches. As always, I'm gonna set my phone down here by the target so you guys can see the impacts. And again, that's those 3 arrows I built up at 60 yards. Sorry guys, my phone fell over right before I squeezed off that last one, but that is a fantastic group at 60 yards. Man, we were so close to having all of them touch here. These first 2 were awesome. This one, I mean, it felt good when I squeezed it off, but I'm sure there could be some user error there on me shooting, but all of them nice and lined up. I mean, look at how nice and tight those are, and nice and parallel those are, both left and right and up and down. Means they're flying really well. So I will take that group all day at 60 yards. Let's see what it measures up to be. All right, so we're a little bit smaller than the stock Killer Instinct Hyper Bolts. So those were just barely under 1.6. I think they were 1.5965. So this group is 1.3125. And again, man, I am really bummed that this one drifted so far from these 2. I don't know if that's the bolt or if that was me, but still a fantastic group at 60 yards. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this video. I am getting absolutely tore up by bugs and I'm losing daylight, but all in all, not too shabby on my first set of completely custom arrows for my SWAT X1 here. I'm happy with it, a 1.3 inch group, or a little bit more than that at 60 yards. I mean, that's awesome. And I really think I want to shoot these again, because that one that was a little high compared to the other 2, man, I would really love to bring that down and shoot a sub 1 inch group at 60 yards. So we'll try it. We're going to try these again here at that same distance. We're probably going to try these also at 100 yards, just like we did those Killer Instinct Hyper Bolts. And then after that, we're gonna have to start shooting some broadheads here. So I just hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, putting a little time in, putting a little effort into getting your arrows flying right, getting them tuned, shooting them both through paper as well as at long distances. It's really gonna help you in the season, regardless of what distance you think is ethical for hunting. 60 yards is too far for me to shoot at a deer, but knowing that I can shoot a group like that at 60, it just makes me even more confident at my hunting ranges of, you know, inside of 40 yards. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, be a sportsman, make a sportsman.